Hi, I'm Mark Mace. I'm running for Congress in Eastern Washington, the 5th Congressional District. And I've been asked to give my thoughts about the war in Iraq. And I need to let you know that I'm a veteran. I volunteered and served in the Air Force right at the end of the Vietnam era. I know a bit about the military. I appreciate the value of the military, and I think our country needs a strong military for us to be safe. But as a veteran, I think the war in Iraq is a terrible mistake. And it's a mistake that we're making worse by continuing with relying upon military might to try to correct our mistake. We need to make an immediate commitment to redeploying our troops, bringing many of them home, sending some of them to Afghanistan where they're really in great need, where dangers really do exist. And we need to do this in a responsible way. We need to do it over time. We need to do it so that our troops can be safe. We need to do it so that we're not leaving 8,000 tanks, 43,000 vehicles, hundreds of thousands of rounds of ammunition available to people who really don't like us. The cost of the war are almost unimaginable. We list and we talk about 4,000 of our soldiers who died in combat. But that doesn't include, I'm told, the people who have died, well, not in combat, but in Iraq. If a helicopter crashes, but it's not combat related, well, that's not discussed as a casualty of combat. We're not absolutely sure what the true death toll is. There's civilians who we've hired to be over there. They're not included in the military death toll. But the people who have died, the heroic people who have dedicated themselves to serving us, safe over here, that's only one measure of what we've lost. We've lost people who come back different from the war than they left. They're different people. They come back unable to control the nightmares that wake them up at night. They come back, many of them depressed. Suicide's a major risk with people who've returned from combat in Iraq. Their families are finding themselves with somebody they didn't know. It's like a big rock tossed in a lake. The ripples go on and on and on. And we're no safer as a result of this. The president of Egypt said that if you go into Iraq, warning the president before we invade it, you'll just create 1,000 mini bin Ladens. And I think we've shown him to be correct. The number of casualties, civilian casualties, we don't even know. One very reliable estimate said there's 600,000 people, Iraqi civilians, who are casualties of the war. 600,000. That's a publication of Lancet, which is a major medical journal in Great Britain. The New England Journal of Medicine says, well, we want to be a little bit more cautious in our estimates. It's only 161,000. Can you imagine only 161,000 civilian casualties? How do we build friends? The Iraqis don't want us. They're not doing the things that we've asked them to do to move towards establishing strong government. We need to get the Shiites, the Kurds, the Sunni Muslims, in a different kind of way of looking at a mosaic of different regions that work together in the federal system. We don't want to have a melting pot that will never happen. These are religious wars that have gone on for centuries. Our own military commanders have said, we can't solve this by military might. Yet we're refusing to negotiate. I've been involved in the World Affairs Council, and that's given me a wonderful opportunity to meet such people as the ambassador to the United States from Syria. I was able to have lunch with him, and he could talk very honestly and openly about the tremendous toll that this war has taken on his country, with hundreds of thousands of Iraqis trying to escape the chaos. They still don't have electricity in many parts of the country. They still don't have safe drinkable water in many parts of the country. People are fleeing. The people who will be able to run the country are leaving. And they're leaving to neighboring countries like Syria that don't have the capacity to take care of them. This is not a way you build friendships. This is not a way you build esteem. This is not a way to build respect for our country. We are less safe as a result of doing this. And the cost of dollars? $3 trillion. Some have estimated the cost of these. Some say more. What's a trillion? If you count backwards by seconds, 1,000,000 seconds is sometime last week. 1 billion seconds is around the time when President Nixon got on the Air Force One airplane and left the White House. 1 trillion seconds is over 30,000 years BC. 30,000 years before Christ. 3. $3 trillion. Could we have done something with education? Could we have more police on our streets? Could we have found solutions to methamphetamine problems? Could we have educated and trained workers to make ourselves the exporters of weapons of peace, desalinization and solar energy plants, rather than have the reputation of being the people who export only weaponry? We can do better. We must do better. We need to deliberately withdraw people. But let's be honest, that's not something that's going to happen immediately. That takes some time. Some say it can't be done responsibly in less than a year and a half. We have so many people over there. It's so difficult to get them safely out. But a year and a half allows us to take a different approach, to responsibly and reliably look at negotiating efforts, to take a different approach and involve all of those in the Middle East who want the area to be stable, though with different views upon what that stability should look like. We can work with people rather than try and act upon people, and have a much safer world and a much safer country. And that's my position. I hold it very strongly. And I hope you agree with me. And if you want to know more about me and my candidacy, I'd ask you to look at our website, votemarkmays.com, M-A-R-K-M-A-Y-S. One word, Vote Mark Mays. It's a suggestion. votemarkmays.com. And I thank you very much for your time and consideration.